a question you had earlier. You asked if you could speak.
Yes, I'll go ahead.
Thank
Just
you.
firstly, just for a comment, thank you to everyone who made the time to go ahead and speak. I think that we need more organizations or more structures like this in order to push the Moringa agenda as well as the African agenda in terms of getting to where we want to get to. I recognize there's a lot of people from a lot of other different countries too, but and that I feel as though yes, we need to work together to get to where we want to get to. I think there's a lot of opportunity in the different spaces that we're in. And I think where the problem mostly lies is in market, as Joshua mentioned. But in that, I think if we work together, I think we can get closer to finding the different markets and setting specific goals. But in that, I think we also just need to go ahead and structure ourselves or have frequent meetings where we can just touch base and figure out what's going on when. Maybe it's because I'm new, I'm not fully sure of the structure and how things work. But I think more frequent meetings or situation where we having an understanding of the direction that we're going in terms of the vision and the mission. I think that will help a lot in connecting the dots and in making sure that the different areas that we're working in, we can collaborate and see where we can help one another. That was my comment. The question that I had, yeah, not so a question but a request. So for anyone who's currently farming moringa, please just go ahead and send me if possible. Oh yeah, I'll reach out to Joshua. If you could just send me your presentation deck, just so that we can become familiar with who's who and who's doing what, and then see where we can connect the dots. I think that issue of market is one that we can really that we can really solve. Especially if we're meeting or especially if we have an understanding of the quality that is being delivered. And when I say quality, I'm saying that we need to go ahead and make sure that the produce that is being produced that is supposed to be ready for export market, let's make sure that it meets standards and that it actually is the grade that we wanted to send out. Because currently, if you look at literature, it will talk to how in other parts of the world, specifically Asia, where the quality is a huge problem, and that has opened a gap in the market for other players to come into play. But we can only enter those places if we do have the proper structures in place. So in that, let's go ahead and work together and talk and see how we can get standards set up and how we can go ahead and make sure that we deliver on these offtake agreements that are there and just waiting for us to take advantage of.
Opani, can you tell everybody where you're from and how many moringa trees you're planting and a little bit about yourself?
Oh, hi. Sorry. Sorry, I should have introduced myself first. So my name is Opani Mandiwana. I was privileged enough to go study in the US right after right after my high school. I majored in international economy and business administration, and yeah, I worked in the US as a business intelligence analyst slash data analyst for this company called Pension in Berlin. Upon my return to South Africa, I decided to do a computer literacy project with funding from Hewlett-Packard HP, and they gave me over $20,000 to go ahead and carry out this project where kids from my village would go ahead and get computer literacy skills and classes taught to them. School's doing really well, but in that I work for this NGO called Hopefully Limpopo, and we do a lot of social impact projects, but as well as like just agribusiness project that makes sense. In my time abroad and in just my own personal capacity and the network that I've built, I've been able to connect to people from the US as well as people from India and from a few other places. And I think the drive for going green is something that is a global drive. And in that, there's a lot of institutions that are looking to fund projects and that are looking to get at least even the byproducts of what they're ending up with. They're looking for people to go ahead and supply them with good grade or like organic moringa products. So the market is there, so that it's sitting at a global scale, and we need to go ahead and think globally in terms of how we can reach those markets. There's talks of jet fuel out here in South Africa. I'm from, sorry, I haven't mentioned this. I'm from South Africa. The talks of jet fuel projects happening out here in South Africa, and yes, those are there. But there's also a lot of other opportunities outside of just jet fuel. We're talking about energy, and we look at the energy crisis that exists across many different countries. That's a problem that we can solve if we put our hands together and if we have an understanding of, okay, if we're supplying power, then how we're gonna go about doing such a thing. I think there's someone touched on. I think it was the hermit who touched us on this. But he's absolutely correct in that the versatility of the moringa tree is something that you can't take for granted, and that we should absolutely use that entire plant for its full value in the value chain. And the only way we can do that is if we're working together across the board, looking at what's there in literature, looking at what the farmers are doing, looking at what people who come from different knowledge bases are saying, because you don't have to just be certificated to be educated. There's a lot of farmers out there, a lot of people out there who have just had lots of experiences over the past 20 plus years of just farming and interacting with moringa, and those are the people who we also need to engage in the conversation, because they're the ones who are going to lead us to best practices and an understanding of how the plant the true value that it can give. Yeah, so what I'm calling for is, what I'm asking for is, let's all get in touch. Let's have regular meetings. Let's brainstorm. Let's collaborate where we can, because there are these opportunities where, for example, they're saying, hey, let's do an Africa project. So then Africa project can only involve all the different players spanning up from Egypt, Ghana, Zambia, Namibia, down to South Africa. I think there's an opportunity for all of us to go ahead and benefit from such things. But that's only if we're talking and if we're understanding of what the true potential is.
Yeah,
thank
good.
you. Thank you, Short. Yes.
Marina, please.
From
Just a
player
minute.
down here in South Africa, that is a good one coming up here now for us, Joshua.
Yeah, just few minutes. The young man spoke very well, and I'm really happy about his inputs. The challenge we are facing, which Marina Price bear with me, is if anyone tells you there isn't market for moringa, it's a big lie.
True.
We have the markets, my brother. There is the market. There are opportunities. There are grants. But you see, the black mind, if I get a grant opportunity, I wouldn't pass it on to my fellow brother. And that is killing us. There is there is a farmer in South Africa. He is supposed to supply a German company 100 tons of moringa powder every 2 weeks. 100 tons of moringa powder every 2 weeks. The man's farm cannot meet the demand because he hasn't got a drying equipment to fit in for the 100 tons of leaf powder. Now the question is this: why wouldn't you pass it on to other farmers who can support you meet that demand? They wouldn't do it.
Joshua, they can't dry quick enough, and they also, remember, any problem with the drying out quickly. So yes, I agree with you. They should actually have backup. They should have other farmers available, because that market can go faster.
Good. So if you haven't gotten a big, so if you haven't gotten a big dryer or a big dehydrator, and your farm can produce maybe 50 tons. Hello, Marina Price, can you hear me?
Yeah, we are listening.
Oh, good. So if you have an order for 100 tons of moringa powder in 2 weeks, and because you do not have a big dehydrator or a big dryer, can't you get about 10 farmers and let each farmer produce 20 tons every 2 weeks? Then you all share the profit together.
To supply.
So that is not only him. That is not only in South Africa. It's in other countries, in Burkina Faso. I mean, we hear all these informations, but you ask yourself, why are we not coming together like what this young man is saying? If we all come together, we can all share the profits.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't do it that way. Then they cut it off, and then others are starving for supplies.
I think in Zambia, sorry for interruption, but I think in Zambia, I was talking to someone yesterday. He said he's buying.
Yeah, it is. We in Africa, we're sitting with a big selfie. Exactly. Joshua, I think it comes in a lot with the gentleman was talking.
Sorry, I think it's from Marco Farm.
Yes, he started talking, but I think he was.
Yes, I am here actually.
Okay.
I stopped because you started talking, so I respect you. Anyway, I was talking to someone yesterday. He said that he have a contract in Zambia that he's buying 1 kg for 1.7 US dollar. So he said that you can come and register with us and we'll make a contract with you, and you will have to buy or sell for us the harvest. He said that we can buy it from you, whatever, how many tons you have. I think, but he asked to do this as a dry leaf, not the fresh one.
Joshua, you want to answer on that?
Yes, he wouldn't buy the powder from you. He would buy the dried leaves. The reason is that in the European market, they prefer buying the dried leaves than the powder because they are not too sure about whether you are going to mix cassava leaves and maybe other leaves with the powder and mail for them. And also the millers we use here aren't their standards. They want stainless steel. And most of the millers we use around in Africa, some of them are aluminum and others. But what the Europeans will want is stainless steel miller. And we have very few people in Africa that are using the stainless steel miller, like the hammer mill, which is very expensive. So most of the European buyers would like to buy the dried leaves and then mill it and then make up their powder. But don't forget, you should have about 5 kg of dried leaves to get 1 kg of powder. And all this will shortchange the farmer. If you sell the powder directly, you make more profit than selling the dried leaves. These are some of the things that will happen in the market. It's obvious. But me, the bigger picture I'm looking at is that if we are able to support ourselves in terms of sharing contracts, at least it's a headway than just letting some few people just control the markets. In Ghana, we have some few companies, less than 10, that have the big buyers. Then the rest of us or the rest of the farmers are struggling with the local markets. And I know in other countries it's still the same. So if what the young man was saying is, if we're able to advocate the togetherness, and we have a huge contract, 100 tons of moringa powder, nobody in Ghana can produce more than 5 tons of moringa powder. It's impossible. We don't have that capacity. So if we get 100 tons of powder, we can distribute it to our farmers in other African countries and then meet the buyer's demand. And that would be good for us. So yes, so if we push the togetherness agenda, including what we have for 2023, it will be fine for us. Do you know, do you know that there are some groups that they will never share their contacts to you? They will not do it. But we over here in African Moringa Hub, and we like you, Marine Price, and others, when we get the contacts, we display it on Facebook.
Yeah.
And multiple people contact them. But you, Marina Price, now, if you want a buyer in Ghana, it will be very difficult because nobody wants to give it to you.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
when you get your buyers, when you get your contacts and your information, and like what we're doing here on this Zoom, these are prominent people we have brought on board to educate our brothers and sisters in the moringa industry.
So now, why we don't do that by ourselves? Like why we are not going to look for a market in Europe and make a deal with the companies and collect the moringa from African countries and export it to somewhere?
We are talking about millions of either in your currency, because if 1 kg is $7 and somebody is buying 100 tons, that is 1 kg times 1,000. 1,000 kilos will give you 1 ton. So if somebody is buying 100 tons, look at the number of thousands you are looking at. That is huge money. You can't.
Yes, it's a huge money. That's what I'm saying. That's why we don't deal directly with the companies who's buying the moringa from different countries and make deal with them.
The guy from Maka Farm, I think he's touching on what Joshua was saying too, that okay, so the problem that currently exists is that there's a certain group that controls the market or has access to the market. But I think that is just one of the challenges of doing business. And I think what we need to go ahead and do is think on that same spread that Joshua was saying, that okay, so we know that we have a group of people where we have a philosophy where it's open business, or where we have an open understanding of this is how we want to carry ourselves in terms of approaching foreign markets, or talking to foreign buyers and all these different things. I think those who want to come along with us could go far and they'll achieve a lot. And those who don't want to come along with us and that want to keep their contacts to themselves, they can go ahead and do that. I think we should not focus too much on what other people are doing. What we should focus on is our vision and understanding how we're going to achieve that.
I totally
I
agree with
feel-
you. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Let's look for our market, not other people market. No, let's not depend on other people market. Let's do by our own market. Make a corporation between us.
Yeah,
And
good
separate the
question.
moringa to different to the main company that is buying the big demand of moringa.
Yeah, think local, be global. My word is there. Think local. Always think local, but be global. If you think about local, then easily you can search the globally different countries and you can sell the product there. But one another thing, don't think only powder, please. We can make many varieties of moringas. Just like chocolate, we can make. We can add on biscuit. We can add on noodles. Different product we can make soap also. We can use shampoo, even cream. We can make anti-aging cream, a hair mask, face mask, many types of that one we can make product, please. Never think about only powder only. Powder is only one thing, but we have thousands of items we can make and we can sell in different countries. So please think about global, think local, be global. If you have global ideas, globally we can touch the world. That if we make different than others, 100% they will buy. So always think that your product is different than others. Powder we can use daily, every person they are making powder and selling, but we can make just like different types of things like that. We can use factories, we can give them just like biscuit factory, we must connect with them. Chocolate factory, we can connect with them. We will tell them that this moringa powder, if we mix in chocolate or bar, it will be good for children, for malnutrition also. It is very nice. Like this type of campaign are needed in local place, and we must do the work as a global. Okay, just no, time is over. I think 1 hour 48 minutes it took. Now for concluding, yes, we will be